I think it's a parallel process where behind all the impressive feats of Mama, all the amazing things she's capable of, behind that is tremendous hard work. So again, both Mama and Master Qingxi, they're both brilliant. They're both very impressive. They're both protagonists of the show. Behind that is also sheer hard work, work ethics, passion, and so on. Hello friends, my name is Benoit Kim, a UPenn educated psychotherapist and your favorite yapper. Assassination Zero, Vanessa Hera, and Greg Boji are the new sponsor tier highlights of today's video. I appreciate your support. Welcome to my episode 7 of the Apothecary Diaries, one of the funniest shows and my favorite shows recently to watch. Sit back and I hope you enjoy. Aww. Looks like we're starting episode 7 with the flashback of Mao Mao. I think this is the first flashback about her and her father growing up. For some reason, the writers kept Mao Mao's upbringing and background not secretive, but under the wrap and low-key and minimum so far. I'm sure it's to save other juicy reveals to come. But can we talk about how Mao Mao's dad, aka Mr. Miyagi, looks the same however long ago is this versus recently episode 1. He doesn't age. Homecoming. Interesting. Aw, she misses him.
昨日園遊会の後何言ってるの毒を食べた大臣は大変だったんだから病人はゆっくり寝てておかげでゆっくり寝られたもののさすがに昼までは寝すぎだ今さらすっぴんはね
ああ
あればお申し付けくださいあらそばかすは落ち着かないのでこのままでもよろしいでしょうか申し訳ございませんいいのよそれより朝からガオシュンが来ているけどどうする園遊会の時は結構な交換の席にいたのにさすが豆男あの男はあの男で侍女たちの心を掴んでいるに違いない本人の目も輝いているような
Because of the baby, bro. It's so funny that Mao Mao continues to use freckles as her safety measure, as like a defensive thing, you know, situational awareness. I talked about that before. Makes sense. At the same time, Mao Mao, you're the only lady in waiting in the entire royal palace, to my knowledge, based on what's been revealed so far. You're the only person wearing green. Bro, you think freckles is enough to disguise you when you're the only person wearing green? You literally do not fit in with anyone around you. Everyone's wearing crimson color, like beige, pink, whatever other colors. You're the only one in green.
玉葉様が飲むはずだったスープですね。
はい、食べないでくださいね。
食べません。していて美味しくありません。
美味しく。
これ素手で持ったりしましたか？
いい。布で包みました。
He's a pro.
少しお待ちください。チョキチョキチョキ。カチャカチャカチャ。
カラカラカラ。
私のいた薬屋ではいたずら防止に触れてはいけない。丸めた綿に粉をつけて器にまぶしていきます。最後に筆で余分な粉を落とせば。
This is to get fingerprints using the powder. Whoa! Dude, Mao Mao, what don't you know? How the F did you learn all these things outside of being an apothecary? The better question is, Who is your father, dude? What does he do? Is he truly like a Mr. Miyagi, a man of wisdom, just knows it all, master of all traits? Because obviously whatever Mao knows was taught by her father and the brothel she grew up in, with wisdom, experiences, learning, and so on. But man, this is so impressive. Fingerprints? Mao, you could be on the forensic investigation team with the police force. Wow. Unbelievable,
白
dude.
い跡がありますね。
Wow.
つまり今ここに残っている指の跡は吹かれた
Yes, the culprits.
持ったのかくらいは推測できるでしょう。器
Wow. ん
いかがしましたか。
いいえ。3人、スープをよそったもの、配膳したもの、リーシュ様の毒味役、そしてもう一人。
なぜ上級妃の器に毒味役の指の跡
簡単なことです。リーシュ様の毒味役が嫌がらせにわざと入れ替えたのでしょう。毒とは知らずに。
入れ替えた。
いじめです。
上級妃に対して次女が。
信じられないようですね。
聞かせてもらえますか。
これはあくまで私の憶測であることを前もって言っておきます。
stop being humble. Come on.
普通に考えるなら玉葉様と被る衣装を妃が選んだ場合、衣を次女たちも着るはずです。しかしお付きの者は皆白いいたリーシュ様は空気が読めない同家同然です。次女は主を立てるものです。進めるなんて。不甲斐ないリーシュ様の次女たちをアードゥオ様の次女たちが諌めていた。自分の次女たちだけです。年若いリーシュ様は次女に何の疑いもなく。
それだけでなく。
Wow. Oh my gosh. So much politics.
は知らずに結果として命拾いしましたけど。幼い頃から教育されます。周りから見れば亡き夫の息子に嫁ぐなんて不徳も甚だしいということでしょう。
I see. I see.
高貴な方の唇が触れる場所を指で怪我してはならない。本娘の教えである。私の見解は以上です。
That's all I can come up with? Bro, that was 8 minutes and 30 seconds. I barely talked. Did you guys enjoy a rare moment of silence when I wasn't yapping and talking? Anyway, here I come. First of all, let's drink a little bit more Kool-Aid of Mao Mao. Can we just have a moment of silence? Although obviously I'm keep talking. How impressive Mao Mao is. Mao Mao's brilliance, her attention to details, her methodical and scientific approach, her thinking outside the box to even create this semi-proxy pseudo-modern tool with buns and white powder to see fingerprints. She was able to figure out biodata, definition right here, biodata, and all these intricate information that only the modern people know. That's why she had to explain what it is. These were marked by hands and so on. Because no one in this era, at least in this setting, knew what that was and what even fingerprints were. I'm glad she didn't say the word fingerprints because then that's obviously weird and it wouldn't be fitting with this setting, this historical period time. Second, she was able to speculate and conjecture about 4 different people based on the positions of the bowl, how they held it, and so on. And she even had a flashback of the food taster. And I was like, why is she having that flashback? Because she already ruled her out as a suspect for the culprit behind poisoning. It's because she figured out how distasteful it was for her to harass the young lady who's only 14 years old. The 14-year-old concubine lady, she was backstabbed by the very few people she can trust with her life. And she was being bullied, harassed. And bullying doesn't have to be within your peers. And bullying doesn't only happen within power dynamics, like upper power towards the lower power. Yes, that's usually the case. But case in point here, because of the age gap and because of the social cultural background about how they think it's weird for her to come back and remarry the son of the previous emperor that she was formerly married to. Yes, she's a very unique circumstances. So because of that, I guess they're harassing their own boss. The one person they swore and literally pledged their lives to protect and serve. That's the irony. And I feel really bad. And like what Mama said, it is very distasteful. You should never be backstabbed by the people you trust. But also, she almost lost her life. And by pure luck, that bullying, that harassment of the food taster swapping the bowls actually ironically saved her life. But it's so impressive. All these informations were simply deduced based on those fingerprints. This is the reason why Mao Mao's attention details, her observational nature, her methodical approach, her scientific training really shines through. It's not only towards food, apothecary duties, or poison and herbs. It's for everything in life. Again, just to talk about this again, I talked about this in episode 7. Mao Mao's superpower is her ability to discard 99% of the things that she doesn't care about and zoom in and hyper focus and maximize and optimize the 1%, the very few things that she really cares about. That's why she's exceptional at what she does, because she doesn't really care about most things. In other words, she's self-preserving her energy, her attention, her focus for the few things that really matters to her. So freaking impressive, dude.
一つ聞いてよいですか？
なんでしょう。
なぜ昨日あの毒味役の次女をかばおうとしたのですか？ただの興味本位です。追求するつもりはありません。
Cats coming out. Empathy?
下
Sympathy?
女の命など妃に比べたら軽くたやすいものです。毒味役の命ともなれば。
They're very disposable.
ジーン様にはうまく説明します。
ありがとうございます。
Another quick question is about what the bullies were doing to the 14-year-old concubine. Do you guys think the ladies in waitings went too far with their bullying and they went too far with their harassment towards the 14-year-old concubine, knowing their background about what they think of what she did is distasteful in terms of, again, betraying the former emperor who passed away by remarrying his son, the current emperor. Of course, it's extremely taboo and it is twisted. It is very weird per modern standard. So does that justify their bullying? So what do you guys think? Did they go too far? Do you think it's justified? Where do you guys lie in these situations? I don't really know what to think because it's very complicated. That's why I'm deferring that judgment to you guys. And the last thing is I want to quickly distinguish the difference between empathy and sympathy. Many people use these two terms very loosely and even interchangeably, but they're slightly different. So empathy, definition right here, empathy is our ability to put ourselves in another person's shoes by empathizing with their experiences so we can feel their pain, but without drowning ourselves. Sympathy, definition right here, sympathy, when we sympathize with another person, is almost from like a higher position. It's like we are not looking down at them, but we sympathize for them because we are judging their circumstances based on what we think we are in a better situations or superior situations. So we are caring for them. We are being thoughtful. But sympathy implies a little bit more hierarchy. Oh, I'm better than your circumstances. That's why I have the privilege and luxury to look down at you by looking out for you because you're struggling, but I'm not. So here's my sympathy. but you're not really putting yourself in their shoes. So, but empathy is you're putting yourself in their shoes. You're in a way drowning together. You're walking the walk with them. You're sharing their pain and suffering. That's true empathy. Where sympathy, you're not sharing the pain. You're just looking at their struggle from a distance. So that's the difference.
ま、せっかく取り替えてくれたんだからお礼はしないとね。毒の味見ができたしやっぱりあのスープ飲み込んでおけばよかったな。
Oh, what a troll, dude. Mao, you're funny.
いつ聞いてもお前の物言いはうまいな。
そうでしょうか。
どう考えても内部犯だよな。
状況からはそうなります。
簡単に言ってくれる。
素が出てきていますよ。
誰もいないからよくないか。
私がいます。
そこはおまけで。
ダメです。
何を言ってもダメか。
Oh.
かんざし刺したままですよ。
ああ、いけねえ。すっかり忘れてた。
紙に隠れていたので、本当のご身分に気づく者はいないかと。特別な方しか身につけられないものですから、大切にしてください。
What's the special someone?
失礼します。
Makes sense why he's constantly nagging and I guess more personable and direct with Master Jinshi. Sounds like he actually raised him and he was his caregiver. So it makes sense. He's like the surrogate mother, father, right? Makes sense, right? It's a very endearing dynamic because you can only nag someone if you're close to them. And people, of course, no one likes to be nagged, right? Like our grandparents and so on. But at the same time, nagging is a sign of endearment, is because they care. But of course, it's always intention versus impact. But it is true that Master Jinshi has been pulling all-nighter. I'm guessing this is the day after the garden party, and he is wearing the same wardrobe. He still has the same hairpin, and he hasn't slept all day. So yes, he's smart. He's very competent and capable, as we've seen since episode 1. At the same time, there's tremendous hard work behind his competency, just like Mao. I think it's a parallel process where behind all the impressive feats of Mao, all the amazing things she's capable of, behind that is tremendous hard work. So again, both Mao and Master Jinshi, they're both brilliant. They're both very impressive. They're both protagonists of the show. Behind that is also sheer hard work, work ethics, passion, and so on. So in a way, they're very, very similar. That's why I think they're, of course, sure, that's how the writers designed the show, obviously. But still, in this context, I think they gravitate towards each other because I think they see a part of themselves in each other. Because we are attracted to two types of people. Again, general statements. But we are generally speaking attracted to two types of people. Type 1, people who are very much different from us. That flares, that hints of a mystery, mysterious vibe, right? They're so different. We're not used to it. So we kind of find attraction in that. That's where the saying opposite attract, even though it's not necessarily accurate. But that's type 1. And type 2, we are attracted to people who are similar to us. Maybe with similar backgrounds, similar interests, similar hobbies. In this case, we see a part of ourselves in them and they see a part of themselves in us. So those are the two types of people we're generally attracted to. And sounds like it's the latter case for Master Jinshi and Mao.
じゃあさ、かんざしもらったりした？一応。出るんだね。
What?
今なんて言った？
That's a hidden
呼
meaning?
吸から出られる？その話、詳しく。
So much passion. Now she's interested.
男性が女官を連れ出すことができるの。ふむふむ。それが園遊会で配っているかんざし。
Oh.
なるほど。
Aw. I love their friendship.
さんざしごちそうさま。
Aw.
美味しかった。
I love their dynamic. Xiaolan provides all the rumors and information and all the things that Mao Mao doesn't really care about and therefore doesn't really know about. So Xiaolan is Mao Mao's information source, plus endearing friendship, of course, because they work together, right? They always ate together before Mao Mao's big promotion. And Mao Mao is a supplier of food, snacks, treats, all the delicious food that Xiaolan doesn't get to have. It's a very symbiotic and very harmonious friendship. Amazing, amazing to see.
もらったかんざしは全部で4つ。男性からのかんざしは2つ。いや、大事なものを失ったあっちは男性とは言わないか。
薬や。Ah.
よし。
Maybe I shouldn't call them men because they lost their PP. Mama, you are such a savage without trying to be a savage. Low-key savage indeed.
まったな。義理のかんざしを本気にされたか。しかし美人の誘いだったらもったいないし。翡翠宮の次女には一人しか渡してない。ということは。あれか。さて、どう断るかな。
Mama was right. This military officer gave that away as a consolation prize, participation trophy. Whoa! Mama assumes, and I thought Mama was wrong, but I guess Mama was right. Wow.
失礼します。
She looks so different.
誰だお前。
よく言われます。
Disguise
お前
works.
化粧で化けるって言われないか。俺を呼び出すなんて。
実家に戻りたいと思いまして。
実家？呆れたやつだ。次女の身分で武官の俺に身元保証だけをしろと。
She's got balls.
俺はジョーちゃんの里帰りにうまく利用さ
Homecoming.
れろって
Literally
こと
coming
か。
home.
いいえ、こちらもそれなりにお礼ができないかと考えています。
ああ、
Let's make a deal.
6召喚。冗談だ。一人で1年分の給金が
あー
高級ヒーローだぞ。ますます信じられん。高級官僚でもなかなか手を出せない三姫じゃないか。
非常に残念ですが、他を当たりますので、この話はなかったことに。
この嬢ちゃん何者なんだ。だとすればこの話もあながち。に出会える機会なんて今後二度と。俺はどうすれば。
Mao Mao flipped the power and literally flipped the table with her bargaining chips. We call that leverage. Now, Mao Mao had the leverage. Before she disclosed her bargaining chips, military officer had the leverage, like leverage, right? Like the things you pull. He had the leverage because it's him saying yes and him vouching for Mao Mao. And for Mao Mao's homecoming, literally coming home, is conditions based on military officer approval. But this time around, because of Mao Mao's connection with that brothel, high-class brothel that was revealed in episode 1, and the brothel that she grew up on, she was able to say, hey, you want to spend the night? And you want to witness the dazzling nature of the three princesses that you will never afford. Boom, the flipping of power table. And this indicates, aside from the humor and comedy aside, Mao Mao's psychological sharpness. She understands human nature really well. She understands desire. human nature, human condition. She knows the art of negotiation, art of making a deal. She knows by giving what people want, you can get what you need. Because every relationship is give and receive, give and receive. Not necessarily give and take, because there's more negative connotation attached to it. But healthy relationship is give and receive. Even between parents and children, even between partners, even between husbands and wives, boyfriend, girlfriends, whatever it is. It's about giving and receiving. Sometimes I give a little bit more, of course. Sometimes I receive. Sometimes I give, sometimes I receive. That's how you sustain a relationship in a long, healthy way. Because if you're just receiving, or take, a relationship will burn out and fizzle out and will eventually break. But if you're giving all the time, you burn out. You become resentful towards the other person. Why am I always giving? Why do I always have to compromise? Why do I always have to be a bigger person? So give only is not realistic. You will burn out. And that resentment will erode any relationship, period. Therefore, a healthy relationship is give some, receive some, sometimes give more, and sometimes receive more based on different circumstances. That is what Mama is demonstrating. She's extremely sharp, and she's very good at reading people. More Kool-Aid.
俺の負けだ。
Mama wins.
おめでとうマオマオまさか私たちより先にマオマオが本当によかったいい人に出会えたのねありがとうございますどうしてそんなに軽いの大丈夫ですよお土産は買ってきます彼とはどういう経緯で成り行きで
あの様子じゃかんざしの意味絶対分かってませんよ
そうね絶対まったくかわいそうなの
Ah.
本当に面白い
Wait, Lady Yokyu feels bad for someone, and we saw Master Jinshi sneezing. And also, I don't know if you guys know, this is more of a Eastern Asian folklore kind of thing where it's hard to explain. It's kind of unexplainable, but here's my attempt. When we think of someone, usually in storytelling, it shows another person that we're thinking about sneezing or coughing or feeling like shivering. Like, oh, did someone talk bad about me? Or did someone say something about me? It's like just a depiction of you're on someone else's thoughts. So as soon as Lady said, that's someone's, I feel bad for that someone, we saw the camera switching to Master Jinshi sneezing out of nowhere. Because that someone is Master Jinshi. So what does that mean? Does that mean that Lady Yokyu also thinks Master Jinshi has some sort of a romantic interest or special affinity or affection towards Mao? Very amusing indeed.
どんな顔するのかしら
これはまた一悶着ありそうです
マオマオならあるお方と一緒に行ってしまった
Oh.
3日間の里帰りへ
He's so happy.
象形を集める雲の上のアイドルだからな一目
It's true.
花町だ。
My cat's playing outside of the gate for the studio room. My Mao, this Mao is great, but my Mao, my cats are better.
カムロと呼ばれる義女見習いですら売れる保証はない世界だ
True. Just an ad note, I talked about this in episode 1, but again, there are different tiers of brothels in Chinese, I guess, dynasty era. And like high-class brothel, like the one they're visiting, they don't just sell their bodies. They sell their arts. They're extremely multi-talented. It's almost like becoming a Miss Universe or Miss USA, Miss Korea, Miss whatever, right? Miss Universe. They're miles above, and they're much more than just a beauty pageants. It's not just about beauty contest. To be a Miss Universe, to a Miss anything in that caliber, you have to be extremely smart. You have to work a lot. You have to study different fields and all that. It's similar to this high a high ranking or high class brothel. It's not just about their beauty. It's not just about their physical appearance. It's not just about sexual transaction, but rather they're truly selling their talents, their arts, their masterful craftsmanship, whether it's playing instruments or singing, whatever it is.
6召喚か。
はい。
なんだか風格があ
It
る。
is huge.
中級から最上級まで技女を取り揃えている老舗の技郎ですから。久しぶり、ばあさん。みんな元気に。
Oh! What? Damn!
何が久しぶりだいこのバカ
Oh, they got worried
大
sick.
丈夫か。なんだよこのバーサ
召喚の店主やり手ババアです。懐かしいな。昔はよくこれで毒を吐き出したんだ。
ああ俺ないか話によると出世株らしいね。
ばあちゃん。
今日は茶引きのはずだ。
One of the three princesses.
李白様、腕の筋肉に自信はありますか？
Damn! Damn, look at them biceps. All right. I see you.
うまくやってくださいね。
おお。
Obviously, the Grams kicked her because they were worried sick. They didn't hear from her for how long? So I'm sure they're extremely concerned. Of course, that concern and thought and that love is just being displayed in a comical upper punch or upper kick, whatever happens.
まあまあまったくお前は
10
月
months.
も連絡よこさず消えやがって
She was kidnapped.
仕方ないだろう。送った木簡読んでないの？
よ
って今まで高級で働いた給金の半分特別に先ば
Damn.
くらいなら負けてくんない？
バカあの腕っぷしでパイリンが何もしない
でもそれ不可能よ。
なわけあるかい
Aw.
なら乗客どんどんよこしな取れそうなのをさ
宦官でも客になるのか？でもガオシュンやヤブ医者は気が引けるし。
まあまあジジイは家にいるはずだ、さっさと言ってやんな
It's so funny that the Grams view customers as like cows. Let's milk them dry, bringing back new good customers, young, strong, so we can milk their money drive over a long, long period. It's literally like they're milking cows, right? This is a weird hand gesture. I don't know why I did that. but obviously, jokes aside, obviously Mao Mao's half of her salary cannot even close to afford a Parian or one of the three princesses, because even the military officer cannot afford such high pay. He said that, right? But of course, that's love. Yeah, sure, business is business, family is family. So we do got to keep business and family separate for sure. I agree with that. Otherwise, it gets really murky and really weird. I owe you, you owe me. It's like endless leverages and just it gets very, very complicated and very muddy. So the best way is money, business is business, family is family. That's what the Grams are demonstrating. But of course, Grams loves and looks after Mao Mao. That's why she allows her to keep some on tap and still fulfills Mao Mao's request for that military officer to spend time with Parian. And it's funny that sounds like Parian likes men with good muscles, muscular guys. That's why Mao Mao was asking, are you strong? Do you have strong arm? And we saw that officer like flexing, right? That biceps, that power. So that's a very endearing scene about Mao Mao. Sure, maybe she grew up without a mom because we still don't know too much about her upbringing. She seemingly grew up in a single parents, single father household, but she was taken care by many maternal love. Those princesses, the Grams, she grew up in a broken family, but nonetheless, that brokenness was filled in and replaced by many caring women like Grams, like those princesses in the brothel and so on. So in that sense, Mao Mao is lucky, despite whatever her background might be.
変わらないな。ただいま。
親父。
Oh.
おかえり。遅かったね。
What? Yes, I guess Mama is casual because that's how she is. Why was the dad so casual? Was Mama adopted? Is she not of the father's biological blood? Doesn't matter, right? Whether it's adopted or not, obviously the father cares. And Mama cares a lot about the father. And based on Mama's love and consideration for her father, we can see and gauge the love of the father towards the daughter. Because Mama wouldn't miss her father if he was abusive, if he was negligent, and so on. Not to this degree. But the only thing she was caring about, only concern she had during this 10 months of being kidnapped, wasn't her life and death, wasn't for her own welfare, but rather the well-being of her dad. But the question remains, why was the dad so casual, so nonchalant, so chill about her missing daughter coming home after 10 months? I guess it's because of the letters, and Mama was able to tell the Grams and the father that she is safe and she is doing well, in spite of the circumstances in River Palace. So I'm sure there's a lot of assurance there. But another layer deeper, it also could be that Mao's that analytical, very cold, not cold-hearted, because she has a heart of gold. She's very altruistic, but that very analytically cold personality trait might also be from her father. So maybe she's not adopted. Maybe she is her father's daughter after all. Homecoming. Awesome.
そこで
Oh, they're catching up. Oh, her dad, Mr. Miyagi looking dude, looks so wise, so peaceful, very serene.
明日6章間でもらい湯するといい。
そうする。
This is so heartwarming. Oh,
高級とは
hmm?
因果だね。
Dude, can we talk about how freaking crazy the cliffhangers for Apothecary Diaries are? What is that ominous, weird side glare the father was showing while Mama was asleep? What a twist of fate. What does that mean? Did he used to work in the real palace? Was he also one of those eunuchs? Those people without PP? What is going on? But one thing I'll say to close out is the reason why the camera zoomed into Mama sleeping, it talks about and spotlights the power of emotional home. Definition right here. There is a physical home that we live in, but there's our emotional home. Because home for us is much more than just the physical safety. Like Abraham Maslow's hierarchy, right? There's a pyramid of hierarchy. And on the bottom is necessities, food, water, survival. And on top of that is a job, having a, and on top of that sense of fulfillment and all the way to self-actualization. But Maslow's hierarchy, a very famous psychologist, Abraham Maslow. So house is much more than just the bottom of the hierarchy. Because home represents, yes, physical safety, but more importantly, psychological and emotional safety. It's our comfort zone. It's our safety net, psychologically and emotionally, also physically, of course. So the reason why the camera showed Mama in deep sleep is because I bet that this is the best sleep Mama's ever had in 10 months since she was kidnapped. Sure, in the royal palace, Mama has her own bed, her own bedroom. It's got pillows, blankets, it's very comfortable. But she's still lonely. It's not her home. It's a temporary place. During she finishes her contract due to the kidnapping and being sold to this modern slavery type scenario. But here, although the bed frame is not as comfortable, she doesn't have a blanket or a pillow. She's literally sleeping on this hard wooden thing with like some grass underneath her, whatever that was. But still, she's having the best sleep. And that's why I think this episode 7, named Homecoming, ended with Mama sleeping in peace, having the best quality sleep she's ever had, because she's back home. Homecoming, her emotional comfort being with her father. That is the power of our home. It's much more than just physical safety. It's much more than a place where we lay our heads. It represents everything, emotionally and psychologically. Anyway, what a freaking cliffhanger. I cannot wait till I watch episode 8. As always, smash that thumbs up if you enjoy my analysis and double check your subscription button. Are you subscribed? Because if you're not, you will miss out on my next video and whatever series I'm covering next. And ask me any questions. Is there some topic you want to learn more about? What did you take away from my video? Since I jam-packed a lot of content every single week, I'll follow up and I'll answer whatever questions you may have. And as always, I appreciate you for tuning in. Until next time, peace.